everything you know about filmmaking, everything down to lighting setups, audio engineering, the experience of watching, everything is about to change. This is bigger than the invention of home video. This is bigger than the invention of VHS. This is bigger than the invention of the big experience of IMAX. You have no idea how big this is going to change the filmmaking industry and how this is going to change the visual storytelling industry right down to the core. The awesome thing is, you are lucky enough to be alive when all of this new technology is coming into place. So stick with me. This might just change your perspective on your future when it comes to production. So if you haven't heard, there is a brand new camera that was just dropped by Blackmagic. It is available for pre-order as of the past week, and it is $29,000, basically $30,000. What is so amazing about this camera, you might say? Why does it have two lenses? What's going on with this? Well, I did a video on the channel months ago about how Apple Vision Pro, you know, the new VR experience, worked with a Hollywood director and made a short film for the Apple Vision Pro. It is called immersive video, which basically means it intertwines 3D and 180-degree field of view. So everything in your peripheral, if you're looking ahead, will be encapsulated by the image, and it is also 3D. So if you kind of look around, you can see around things. You get new perspective as you shift, which is why you have the two lenses. It's the classic way of filming 3D. You know, Peter Jackson filmed all of the Hobbit movies with two cameras sitting next to each other. So this camera is going to allow you to not only film 3D, but also at the same time filming immersive video. As of right now, there are not a whole lot of options when it comes to immersive video for the Apple Vision Pro. When it was released, people were wowed and interested by the idea. So this is kind of what you'd be seeing. So 180 degrees, you could take up, you're basically inside of the story, all right? Your field of vision is completely taken, and it's 3D. So everything is right on top of you. You actually have perspective. It's not just a flat image. But there's not a whole lot of options when it comes to immersive video. They just have like a lot of demos, and then they have this one short film called Submerged. And I wanted to watch this video of this guy who recently, about 2 months ago, watched Submerged with the Apple Vision Pro.
Film shot in Apple Immersive Video for the Apple Vision Pro. Now, if you remember, they teased this at WWDC 24, and I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes me curious. This is directed by Edward Berger, Academy Award winner for All Quiet on the Western Front recently. He also just released the Vatican thriller Conclave for screening at the Toronto Film Festival. That's getting tons of buzz. And then Apple, the timing sometimes just works out. Apple partnered with him specifically for Submerge. And so everything is lining up big for both of these two groups, Apple and Edward Berger. And I'm going to tell you, Submerge, again, when I say this was a brain-changing experience, it was a brain-changing experience. So Submerged, again, this is a 17-minute scripted short film shot entirely in Apple Immersive Video. Again, 180 degrees, shot in 8K, 4K delivered to each eye, and then using advanced spatial audio. You hear those specs, that instantly is going to tell you there's nothing like this before. So normally when we're watching a film, they're telling us what to look at based on how the shot is framed. Well, we're organically in these bunks. One character is moving around. And so, yes, you turn and you start looking and seeing what he's doing. But there's this entire submarine deck below where things are happening while he's kind of waking up and moving around. I'm kind of telling the story myself because I'm living in it. I turn and look at another bunk member and see what he's doing. I hear with spatial audio, someone, just a little twinge of someone snoring here on the left side. So I immediately look and see what they're doing, right? This is, when they say it's immersive, but you in a way are living this experience because you can look wherever you want. You can hear and feel things. So that was the first thing where I'm like, oh, whoa, this is different.
So I want to just cast a little vision here with this Blackmagic release and the pre-orders and the revelation that it is going to be around $30,000. That's pretty steep for a lot of filmmakers, indie filmmakers, independents out there. But I want to just point this out because this is a revolutionary moment for cinematography. And I know it's like, okay, VR, we get it, immersive video. Okay, like this isn't brand new information. With the release of this camera by Blackmagic, right? They have the reputation of being the affordable, high quality cameras. With the release of this and being at the price point that it is and not the price point of like 200,000, it creates the barrier for entry a lot lower, which means there's going to be opportunities for productions with $15,000, $20,000 budgets if you're smart to make short films and content by renting this camera. There's going to be options for people to actually create, and independent filmmakers to actually create movies like this. That's why I'm saying it is going to change the fabric of what we know when it comes to cinematography.
Apple needed to show not only a proof of concept, but something this special to then open people's brains and now see the value of why this medium, why this format is the next level of filmmaking. I'm not saying that everyone is going to buy a headset right away to experience this, but I think everyone that does experience this is going to be like, wow, this is something different.
This is brand new. This technology changes up entire production processes, right? So when it comes to like light blocking, when it comes to the way you audio mix, everything is going to change. And because this is Blackmagic that's releasing this camera, they've already been working to integrate the kind of processes that you would need to work with this type of footage to create your short film with DaVinci Resolve. So that's the editor that they use over at Blackmagic. It's their personalized video editor. This type of cinematography is going to be able to be integrated seamlessly to actually work with as an editor in DaVinci Resolve. The technology with camera and editing and an entire process is so incredibly valuable to actually go from start to finish on a project. And it looks like Blackmagic is solving those steps and those problems with this camera and with their new aspirations partnering with Apple Vision Pro. So for filmmakers, what does this mean for us? Well, like I said closer to the beginning of the video, there's only a little bit of immersive video experiences available for people right now. I know there's a little bit of a hiccup when it comes to people consuming and purchasing and using the Apple Vision Pro. Partly is because it's a little bulky, it's a little front heavy, a lot of people have talked about. Also, the fact of like usability, like everyday use is just not quite there, and people have read the wave and then kind of fallen off. But the thing is, as the technology for the headset, as the technology of observing the immersive video continues to evolve, there's going to be an extremely high demand for projects that were filmed in immersive video. And when they were showing the behind the scenes for the submerged short film that Apple did, they gave us some clues as to what production would have to look like for something like this. So that means like everything within the set needs to be viewable. So you can't have a light right here next to the character. You can't have your scrim right off camera, because the thing is, you are looking at a 180-degree view, which means all of your lighting has to be practical or make sense for the story. It adds a whole level of complexity when it comes to creating the setting that you're filming in. It changes audio mixing, the entire process to create immersive audio experiences. It changes the process of how you mix audio together and where it comes from. The fact that people are going to be completely immersed in your video, both in 3D and 180 experiences, it's going to change how things sound, directions of sounds. It's going to completely revolutionize the skills that are needed to mix audio and master this kind of film. And the fact that there is such little content for this type of filmmaking, but the demand as the technology for the actual device improves and it's less bulky and more tangible, and people are looking for it more and more and more and more, the demand for films are going to rise and rise and rise. And this is the opportunity for you to get in on the ground level with a very affordable camera. And if you don't have the means to be able to pay or rent for something like this when it's released early 2025 to start production right away, you should really do your own indie productions, practicing for this type of new industry standard. Meaning, how are you lighting your scene? How is it shot? How is the audio being mixed? This is all incredibly valuable information as we are moving into this next era of cinematography and visual storytelling. You might be cynical and say, oh, this is never going to catch on. People always want, the TV, the window to the world they're watching. And I would say maybe right now, I am predicting anywhere from 5 to 10 years, this is going to be the standard, because the technology to consume films and content like this is going to be in high demand. I also think that even in Hollywood, they're probably going to be using AI to transform existing films into this immersive experience. There was a recent video that went around on Instagram not too long ago, and I think TikTok, that was like if Lord of the Rings was filmed vertically, right? Use generative fill and AI to widen the scope of the image, right, on the existing, horizontal film that was from the movie. And so it basically widened the view of what was being filmed. You could do the exact same thing with AI and films for immersive video. Instead of just vertically, it is 180 degrees. And then you could use AI to create the 3D effect. So they're going to start transforming existing older films into this immersive experience using AI, because the market's going to demand it. But that also means the market's going to demand immersive video be the standard for how things are shot. Because once you film something in the immersive experience, you can still create the window option from what you have in the immersive experience, which is kind of a crazy concept. When I look at this technology, when I look at what's possible, I really do think that we are about to fundamentally change the industry standards. And with the release and the pre-orders of a relatively very affordable camera for what it can do and how it's going to be revolutionary in the market, I really just think this is going to be the cinematic standard. And I really think anybody who doesn't adopt this, anybody who is opposed to this and is a cynic when it comes to if this is actually going to be accepted, if this is going to be what cinematography and filmmaking looks like in the future, I think you're doing yourself a very big disservice if you do not get on board and start learning the techniques, start understanding and getting creative with this new format. I just kind of feel like once the VR goggles turn into something that's a little bit more similar to glasses, I just don't see how this is not going to be the standard when it comes to home entertainment. And I think this is probably the answer to how to replace theaters. I think this might be in some ways the answer on how to replace the industry loss of financial gains. And I think this changes everything we knew about production and cinematography and how we go about creating a motion picture story. If you have an Apple Vision Pro, or if you have seen the Submerged short film, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I would love to see what you actually think about all of this. And I would love to hear your reactions to Blackmagic's new release of this camera. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was informational and helpful and inspiring. Subscribe to the channel if you felt that way, and like the video so more filmmakers can see this as well. We are on the edge of the cliff when it comes to the entire industry of filmmaking being overturned. It's exciting, scary, and we're gonna have to take the leap at some point.